everyone. Welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union Energy Update. I thought we would do a mini reading, a quick reading, just as a check-in to see what the energies are heading into the new week and even heading into the new month. It's May this week. And even though all of our readings are meant to be timeless and are timeless, you can take them as they resonate for you. Even some readings that are from a couple of years ago might still be resonating now, so make sure you're checking out our playlist. I thought we'd just kind of tune into the energies and do a quick update and see what's going on with the energies. Before we begin, I have a very exciting announcement. I have been running an April fundraiser reading special to benefit Paws of PA. It's a local 501c3 animal charity here in Pennsylvania. As you guys know, I am a big proponent for charitable organizations. I love giving back. Charities mean a lot to me. We have a community connections section on our website where I highlight small or local charitable organizations just as a way to bring awareness to certain organizations or to certain causes. And this month was a fundraiser that we've done for Paws of Pennsylvania. I am not affiliated with them. However, a client of mine is. She has asked me over the past 2 years if I would donate some readings to their silent auction. I have gladly done that. And this month we kicked it up a notch, and we did a fundraising event, and we decided to have a fundraiser for them for all of April. So thank you to everyone who booked, everyone who participated in that fundraiser reading. As part of that, I contributed my own donation as part of the work, and the total cost of the reading, a part of the total cost of the reading went to a donation for them. And I'm very happy to announce that we raised $400. So I am very thankful to all of you who participated. And yeah, it's very exciting. I love doing that. And we might be doing some more of those because that was a lot of fun. Okay, so if you would still like to book, that's going to be open for a couple of more days. And then I'm going to be closed for readings until August. I might come here and there with maybe a solstice reading or something like that, a solstice reading special. So do make sure you're following us at susandonspiritual.com. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter for all of the information. But for the most part, we're going to be closed to all bookings and services until August because we have a lot of exciting announcements coming up, including in May, and I cannot wait to share it with you. We're going to have a cover and title reveal of my new book, and you can find out how you can be a part of the launch. So make sure that you stay tuned, and now let's get into the Sacred Union Energy Update. The energy feels light. I don't know if I shared this on the last Sacred Union Energy Update or where it was, but I woke up last week after like a really difficult couple of weeks. I was going through a health crisis. I had a health event. I lost a friend and a mentor who passed. It was a difficult time, but I also realized that even under the grief that I was feeling, even under some of the anxiety from the health stuff I was feeling, I still felt anchored into peace. And that's because as we go through our ascension, our capacity is greater. Our capacity, our container to hold all energies becomes greater. And so even though I was allowing myself to be very human and feel the grief and feel, the anxiety or whatever it was I was feeling, there was still this peace underneath. And then I woke up last week and I felt this energy of a timeline shift. And that's the only way I know how to say it. Everything felt lighter. Everything felt brighter. Everything felt bolder. The heaviness kind of washed away. And it felt really good, just really good. And it's feeling really good now. There feels like a lot more joy, peace, acceptance, love. And if I'm tuning into the connection between counterparts, there seems to be what I'm actually seeing now is like a weaving of threads. There's a coming together, a weaving of threads. Remember, there's always something going on beneath the surface. Even if you can't see it physically, even if it looks completely contrarian to your physical eyes, Tune into the energy. Only you can discern for yourself what your connection is by tuning into your heart space and trusting your intuition for what the connection means to you. However, for these connections, these spiritual and energetic connections, they are there is movement. There is more that's happening beneath what you can actually see. This journey itself is a paradox. These connections themselves are a paradox. And so we cannot rely just on our physical senses. We have to tune into our intuitive knowing as well. And so as I'm tuning into this energy, I'm just seeing almost like timelines being woven. I shared this, I think, in the last Sacred Union Energy update. There was one Tuesday recently where I just was kind of numbed out for everything I was experiencing. I was just, the only thing I could do was literally sleep, rest. I really just wanted to stare at a blank wall. Like I could not do anything. But in that energy, I could also see threads kind of coming out of my heart. And it was like new timelines being woven. And we know that we manifest from that heart space, from the higher heart. And so I was seeing these timelines, these new timelines, where the past, even though we accept the past, we can reflect on the past, those timelines were being closed off. Sealed off is what they're saying, sealed off, so that we cannot revisit them. Your energy has shifted, your consciousness has shifted, so that even though you can communicate about it, reflect on it, you will not be in that energy again. And so your consciousness, they're saying, just won't allow it. Those timelines are sealed off. And so you're creating new threads, new timelines. And what I'm actually seeing now are the timelines being woven between you and your counterpart. And this is for the union cycle. So what I want to do, I'm using the Good Tarot today. What I want to do is get 3 tarot cards just to see what the general energy is of the connections. What is the general energy of the connection? May feels definitely lighter. Yeah, 7 of Water, 7 of Cups is all about options, opportunities. This is the weaving of timelines. It's like adjacent timelines. They're showing me the card in the what is it called? The Energy Oracle deck, where it's like adjacent doorways or something like that. But that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing possibilities. That's what the 7 of Cups represents here. So many possibilities that are being open. And your job is to be open to every possibility, not closing yourself off or limiting yourself by saying it can only happen this way, or this way. It can only happen in this timeline. It can only happen if this happens. You're meant to release all of those self-restricting thoughts. You're meant to release all of those expectations. You're meant to release all of those outcomes and seed into the joy of your present journey, seed into the joy of your present moment, seed into the joy of your connection, because you are in union. You've always been in union. We've been channeling that for the past 2 years. Even if it looks paradoxical on the outside, completely, if you're no contact, if you're in not communication, you might be feeding into the energy of separation by continuing to focus on the lack of your partner. Tune into the energy. Again, this is a spiritual energetic connection. You're never apart from your counterpart energetically. Yes, we can miss them in the physical world, but tune in energetically. You have that telepathy. You have that energy exchange. You can always feel them and tune into them. You're not truly missing anything. And the more that you tune into the energy and recognize that you have everything within you, the more that is manifested and created in your physical world. Now, that is not to negate or ignore or deny any of how we feel about the physical, right? You can still miss your counterpart, long for your counterpart, desire your counterpart, desire relationship, desire whatever it is that you want, right? I just keep hearing my best friend, my counterpart's my best friend, and that's how I feel about my counterpart. He was my best friend. Through the separation, it looks like the complete opposite. It looks like there is nothing. But I can just tune into the energy. I can just allow myself to accept what's happening in the physical world, because I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Yes, I'm missing him in the physical in some sense, but it's not a longing as it would have been in the past. There's no lack there. It's not a longing coming from a place of lack. It's a just, how do I even say this? I don't quite even know how to articulate it. It doesn't feel like a missing like we are used to missing somebody. It just feels like peace. It just feels like we're anchored into peace. Um, yeah, I don't quite know how to explain this energy. That's what inner union is. It's like you're not missing anything. You're not lacking anything. You're not feeding into the separation by only looking at the separation. That's what I'm trying to say. You're not feeding into the separation by only focusing on the lack of your person in your physical world, because you are so anchored into the love and the joy and the peace and the presence that you have in your life that you recognize that nothing's missing, and your counterpart is only adding to that, adding to the joy, adding to the peace, adding to the life that you've created for yourself. And that's what physical union is. It's adding to what you have already anchored in within yourself, within your own inner union. Because again, remember, we have to look at these connections from a different standpoint, rather than the old relationship templates and patterns, rather than the old relationship blueprint. We have to look at it from a spiritual and energetic component, that your counterpart is part of you. If you truly believe that your counterpart is your twin flame, sacred partner, soulmate, whatever it is that you want to call it, as we know it on this journey, then we recognize that you don't have to force anything, you don't have to manipulate anything, you don't have to control anything. You just have to let your journey evolve. And those timelines, your connection will be woven in and of itself. So you just have to allow yourself to enjoy your journey, allow yourself to enjoy what it is that you're creating for you. Because as you're creating for you, you're naturally creating for each other, even if you can't see how all the pieces fit into that puzzle just yet. So lots of options, lots of opportunities, lots of timelines that are being woven right now, lots of possibilities. Open yourself to possibilities. Step out of that restrictive energy. Step out of that, even step out of that defensive energy. We have 2 7 numbers, and 7 for me is this almost like this life path number, allowing yourself to trust the path you're on, allowing it to unfold. The 7 of Wands is usually this energy of being very guarded, being very defensive. What I'm hearing now is standing your ground. You know the energy that you hold, you know the energy of your connection. And it's about standing your ground with that, affirming that within yourself, regardless of what the world is telling you, regardless of what it looks like in your physical 3D world. Again, it could look the complete opposite of what you're feeling within yourself. But that's where you've been called to trust your intuition. And that's a lesson, especially for you, Divine Feminines, that's a lesson that you've been learning throughout your ascension journey. To not focus so much on the physical that it detracts you from what you're intuitively knowing. Your intuition is right. Maybe your physical reality is not reflecting that just yet, but it doesn't mean that it never will. So your job is to allow yourself to release any of those blocks, any of those challenges, any of those struggles, any of those barriers that you're keeping from yourself, from trusting yourself and believing yourself. And part of those blocks are expectations and attachment, by saying it has to look this way, or it has to occur in this manner, or he has to do this, or he has to do that. I really encourage you guys to check out the special channeling I've done, Reunion and Reconciliation. I've just posted another collective message about navigating physical union. As these physical unions are coming into being, we're going to be channeling more about that, how to navigate that. But those 2 channelings are going to be really significant. It's about releasing the expectation of what you think it needs to be and how you think it needs to look like, and just allowing yourself to let it unfold. Just be in your state of presence. I'm not going to get too much into that. All of those messages are in the Reunion and Reconciliation channeling. Again, I really encourage you to check that out. But hold the vision, but be open to possibility is the energy that I'm getting here. Let the magic do its work. Think about it. And we've channeled this message before, but think about it. When you're in your state of presence, when you're not reaching for anything, when you're not forcing anything, manipulating anything, when you're not worried about the future, what's he going to do? What's he going to say? When's he going to come in? You know, all that anxious energy. When you're just embodying your authentic self, enjoying your journey, enjoying the presence of your counterpart, energetically or otherwise, think back to when you were with your counterpart. the most magical conversations, the most magical experiences happened when you were being very present, right? That's because you were opened up to all possibility. You weren't restricting yourself, blocking the energy, or trying to control anything. That's the energy that you're meant to be in. That's the energy you're meant to be embodying. And so, again, hold the vision, but be open to possibility. And one more card here. Page of Fire. Be open to the new. This fire energy, it feels fired up. Yeah, look who's on the bottom of the deck, making himself known. The Emperor here and a High Priestess. You know this. You can feel this. You can feel the masculine rising. You can feel the masculine stepping into their true nature. Masculine energy is all about embodiment. No matter how spiritual you are, no matter how aware you are, no matter how conscious you are, it's about embodiment. And that's what this year has been and will continue to be for both counterparts, for the divine feminine and the divine masculine. It's all about embodying now. But you're trusting your intuition with that. So there's a lot of fire energy, and that fire energy is movement. I'm getting two messages. I'm getting number one, it is burning away anything that is holding you back from embodying your true authentic self, anything that is holding you back from stepping into the version of your life, the version of yourself that you have ascended to. It's burning away all that old energy that just doesn't serve you anymore. It might have served you at one point in your journey, but it doesn't serve you anymore. So that fire is a purification process, but it's also a movement. It's also an energy that gets things moving. What they're showing me is coal. As coal burns, right? It creates movement for like a steam engine. So it's this movement energy that I'm getting, and it might take some time to pick up the pace, but this energy is moving. And it began moving, I feel like, with the start of the year and even into the first couple of months of the year. So, and it's going to keep picking up. It's only the page now, it's only the beginning. And you might be having communication, you might be having contact, meetups. Even if you're not in contact, even if you're not in communication, you might be experiencing this through telepathy again, dream state activations. You might be having upgrades within your own gifts, within your own life. But that's indicative too of your ascension. That's indicative too of this movement energy. Also, when it comes to your counterpart, you might be energetically experiencing them more, or you might be having divine orchestrations where there are people who are connected to the two of you who are coming back into your life, or who are suddenly popping up out of nowhere. I just had, my friend just said, my counterpart just bumped into my brother, literally bumped into him at the supermarket. They haven't seen each other for years. So it's that kind of energy. There's divine orchestration that's happening here. The timelines are being woven. That red string of fate is coming into being again. It's being woven. Every possibility is possible. Be open to it. Hold the vision, let it begin. Be open to possibilities. And when I say let it begin, let it unfold. Even the smallest steps are quantum leaps. So it doesn't have to be a grand declaration. I know that the whole love story and fairy tale romance is what you want. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have that. But this journey is an ascension. This journey is a spiritual journey. It's an energetic journey. And so you have to allow it to unfold. You have to let it be. And you'll experience the magic the more that you let it be, the more that you let it unfold. This is something that we didn't understand when we first were activated to our ascension, when we first met our counterpart, right? Because we were still operating in those old templates, in those old paradigms, in those old relationship blueprints. This is something we didn't understand. Now we understand because we're at a different level of consciousness. We understand that the magic actually comes from the presence. The magic actually comes from the letting go of expectations, the letting go of attachments, because you're anchored into faith and you're anchored into trust. And you're anchored into love. And when you're anchored into love, man, that is when the magic and the miracles happen. So it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. Don't let the beginning, bring up any anxious energies or fears. And if it is bringing up any anxious energies or fears, allow yourself to look at that. What is it showing you? Where are the blocks still? Don't be afraid to keep diving deeper. Many, many layers on this ascension journey. That's what it's for. You're clearing the blocks to love. And you and your counterpart have an unconditional love with each other, for each other. You're just clearing those blocks. You're helping each other to clear those blocks. All right, let's get into a little bit of what's going on for the masculine. What's going on for the divine masculine? We have the Five of Swords. There's some kind of victory here, and I don't mean... Oh, interesting. Nine of Swords. Oh, okay, interesting. There's some kind of victory here. They've gone through a battle, and I feel like the battle was their own anxiety, was their own nightmares. They've faced their own nightmares. I'm also hearing to face themselves. I feel like there was maybe some tower moments, some dark nights of the soul, where they really required going deep inside of themselves to face themselves, to look at themselves, to look at their patterns, their habits, addictions, programs, the old stuff, the old energy that they were operating from, the old levels of consciousness, the old templates. But now with the Five of Swords, it actually feels like a victory. It's interesting that it's the Five of Swords and not the Six of Wands, and I'll tell you why. The Six of Wands is a victory, a recognition, an acknowledgement. It's like a being very proud of everything that they've overcome. When we're talking about success and victory, that's the Six of Wands. The Five of Swords is a little bit more difficult as an energy. The Five of Swords for me is a battle between the mind and the heart and overcoming that battle. The Five of Swords here, it's well, the Five of Swords traditionally is an energy too of winning, but at what cost? There's winners and there's losers. So it's winning, but somebody has to lose. You know, see somebody on their knees in the background, you know, even though he's victorious, like there's been a battle, and that battle, there is kind of like carnage from it, right? There's devastation from it. What I'm getting here is they've battled themselves, and I feel like through battling themselves, they're realizing what their own nightmares, what their own anxieties, what their own fears, what their own limiting energy held them back from. They've realized that they've lost. And when I say, I'm gonna try to put this into perspective because it's a very complicated energy that I have to translate. This divine masculine has been resisting, has been limiting themselves, has been fighting against themselves, pushing against the universe that has been trying to bring through opportunities, maybe even pushing against you, divine feminine, pushing against this connection, resisting this connection. Because of that resistance, because of that inner battle, they feel like they have lost. It's almost like they've gone through the battle now. They're recognizing the battle's over. They've had this enlightenment. Again, the battle of the mind and the heart. They've had this enlightenment. They've overcome their ego, is what I'm hearing. They've overcome their ego. But now it's like they're in the aftermath and they're looking around at the battlefield, everything that they've gone through, what their life has become in that resistance, in that limiting energy. And they're like, what did I do? What did I do? What was I battling myself for? What was I limiting myself for? What was I doing with my life? It's that kind of energy. There's a new way that they're looking at themselves. But I feel like before they're allowing themselves to look at themselves with that sense of confidence, with that sense of rebuilding, with that sense of security and presence, and as the divine masculine is, you know, before they're allowing themselves to look at, okay, I have the strength and I have the courage to rebuild. I have the strength and I have the courage to be who I always wanted to be. First, it's like they're looking around, they're saying, what did I do with my life? It's like they've just woken up. What was I doing with my life? What was I resisting for? What was I limiting myself for? What was I holding back for? What was I masking for? What was I pushing away love for? Why was I so caught up in this anxiety? And so I feel like that's where this Nine of Swords is also coming in. It's not so much that they're experiencing nightmares about this. I don't feel like they're stuck in that energy of regret or remorse. I feel like they're just kind of doing a self-reflection that's very hard on them, because that's part of their awakening too. That's part of their conscious understanding. You have to allow yourself to face who you were in order to shift the energy into who you want to become. You have to face the contrast of who you don't want to be in order to recognize who you now do want to be. This is a spiritual maturity that's coming through for this divine masculine. And so I'm trying very carefully to articulate this because, again, it's a very complicated energy. There is no victimhood here. There is no woe is me. When I say regret and remorse, it's not in that lack energy that they might have been in the past. It's not that victimhood energy. There's a strength here. There's a regalness. There's a warrior energy. There's a saying, look at what I made my life before. I don't want to do that again. I want to make my life better. But they have to acknowledge maybe what they lost, maybe the decisions that they made, the choices that they made. Almost like they had to look at their downfall in order to recognize that they're more than those experiences, that they can become more than what they thought they were. So there's a victory here, and that victory is seeing themselves in a new light, seeing themselves as, I don't want to be that person that I was anymore. I don't want to make those same choices. I don't want to keep myself stuck in the same dead end job or tied to finances or in the same relationships that lack love or that lack genuine connection or whatever this is, whatever your masculine specific scenario is. I don't want to live that life anymore. So there's like a awakening, an awareness that's coming through, and that's the victory. Is they are recognizing how far they have come by recognizing how far they have, in essence, quote unquote, fallen. And when I say fallen, it's the dark night of the soul, recognizing that the way that you were doing things is not the way that you can do things anymore. You know, I'm going to share a quick anecdote. When I was experiencing Lyme disease, I kept pushing and pushing and pushing to stay in the old normal. I had a corporate job that I liked well enough. I liked my coworkers. I liked the work that I was doing. I was making the money. I had my house. I had my animals. I was still trying to put myself in that box because that was what I knew. But when I relapsed, I had gone through recovery. I was dragging myself into the office every day. But when I relapsed, I realized I had to put myself first, that I couldn't keep pushing myself to the point that was detrimental to my health. Because the relapse was actually worse than the original diagnosis. And so I ended up quitting my job to focus on my health. And the rush of relief that came from that month that I was just focused on my health and not worried about work, not worried about disappointing people, not feeling guilty for XYZ and the choices that I was making. I was actually putting myself first. And step by step, over the many years, I built my business. I created new programs. I did whatever it was that I could to keep creating a better life for myself. And now I'm here and I'm happy. It's not everything that I want my life to be yet, but I'm still building. I'm still building and it's still creating. So that's the kind of energy I'm talking about. It's the surrender. The divine masculine has surrendered the battle of the mind and the heart. And once you surrender the battle of the mind and the heart, then you're able to fully integrate that. And when you're able to fully integrate that, then you're able to embody that. And just like we were talking, it's all about the embodiment. Not just having intellectual understanding, but walking the walk and talking the talk. That's what embodiment is all about. So when I'm talking about a bittersweet victory here, it's bittersweet because there's some kind of like a light bulb moment going off for them. How have I been living in this for so long? It's almost like I'll speak to this too. I'll use this as an example because I've experienced this too. When you're going through a deep depression, you let yourself go. You know, you might let your house go where it just gets cluttered and you're in bed, so you don't care. You don't, keep up with yourself or your hygiene or anything like that. But then you start to feel better and something clicks. And you look around and you're like, you see the endless, takeout food containers, or I'm being dramatic here and exaggerating, but maybe not for some. But you look in the mirror and you don't recognize yourself, and your hair's all unkempt, and you haven't showered for days, and you're like, what am I doing? How have I been living like this? What am I doing with my life? Why was I making these choices? Why was I making these decisions? Why wasn't I in resistance to myself and my life? That's the victory here. It's a victory of saying you don't have to live like that anymore. Recognizing that you can make a new choice. There's an empowered energy that's coming through. But there's still an energy that they're working through of, did I really live my life like that? And any of the losses or the heavy energy or changes that might have come from living in that energy for so long. So this actually feels like a really empowering energy. I feel like this is a divine masculine that is really beginning to want more for themselves, want better for themselves, where they had just kept themselves stagnant and stuck in expectation or duty or old cycles, old versions of themselves, limiting themselves, feeling like they couldn't have anything. So they didn't let themselves have anything. So when I am seeing the Five of Swords, it's a victory. Yes, it's a bittersweet victory, but it's going to lead to more empowerment, more courage, more strength. This is a warrior that is beginning to recognize, I am a warrior, and I don't have to live like anything less. Powerful stuff. Divine Feminine, what's going on for you? Divine Feminine, what's going on for you? What's going on for the Divine Feminine? We have the King of Swords, we have the Knight of Pentacles, and we have the Queen of Cups. Interesting that this is all court cards, and I feel like that is because you are really stepping into your power. You are acknowledging yourself. There might be some mirroring going on with the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine. I feel like not quite on the same spectrum, but the energy, that embodiment energy, that self-acknowledgement energy is stepping up. I feel like Divine Feminine, this is all you. I feel like you are acknowledging yourself, you're receiving clarity, you are expressing yourself in a loving, nurturing way, taking care of yourself, and also allowing yourself to move towards opportunities in your life. You're not blocking yourself, and even though you recognize that it might be a little bit slow moving, that you're still building, that there are some stepping stones here, that those opportunities are something that's going to be a foundation for you, something that's very grounded, something that's very sincere, something that's very genuine, something that's even long lasting. Now, that could be something like a job or a project or a hobby or career, or it could even be relationships that's coming through. Something that's long lasting. There's something that's being built here, and this is because you are anchored into your feminine and masculine energy. This is your inner balance. What I like about this is the King of Swords is really indicative of that leader. I'm getting like King Arthur, Excalibur energy. Being able to lead from a place of authenticity. That's the King of Swords, authentic. Not holding or hiding behind any masks, not denying any aspect of yourself. You are embracing the fullness of yourself and thus expressing the fullness of yourself. But you're also doing that, leading your life from a place of the Queen of Cups, nurturing, compassion, caring. And you're not over sacrificing yourself or over giving of yourself or abandoning yourself. That cup is full, and you recognize that you too have to drink from that cup. That you can't drink from an empty cup and you can't give from an empty cup. You too have to nurture yourself. And so the cup is full, but you are in a cycle. What I'm actually seeing, it's this justice energy, it's this balance energy. What I'm actually seeing is almost like the infinity sign. That's your inner union. You are in that balance where you're able to give and receive to yourself. It's your inner masculine that's able to give to you and your feminine that's able to receive from you, and that's your balance here. So you're not sacrificing yourself, you're not abandoning yourself, you're not overgiving, you're not draining your energy in any way. You are acknowledging where you might be draining your energy and you're pulling back, or you might be make tweaks or adjustments. This is an energy of pure balance. This is an energy of pure harmony within yourself. This is an energy of pure inner union. I want to get a little bit more for the Divine Feminine. What else is happening for the Divine Feminine? What else is happening for the Divine Feminine? Yeah, you're letting go of anything that has been burdening you. Any of the weight of the world on your shoulders that maybe even for your whole lifetime you have carried, maybe even I'm hearing the weight of the connection that you carried, you are letting that go. And that is creating liberation within you. That is actually opening up the door to more opportunity, opening up the door to more abundance, more opportunity, more peace, more love, more expansion, because you are ending that cycle where you were overgiving, ending that cycle where you were carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. What else for the divine feminine? Yep, there's movement. Absolutely. The Eight of Wands, you're letting go of the burden, which is creating this liberation. See the juxtaposition in these cards here? He's carrying those wands on his shoulders and he's almost like cowering under it because of the weight is so heavy. Well, now that you're ending those cycles, you're freeing yourself, and those wands are kind of just shooting off into the universe by themselves. Those wands, they're like arrows. They have a target, and the target is opportunity. The target is expansion. The target is like your wishes coming true. So you just had to free yourself from any restrictions, from any blocks, in order to allow yourself to be open to everything. And do you see the mirroring that's going on? Again, it's a different kind of energy, a different maybe circumstance, but there's a liberation that's coming through for both of you. For the divine masculine, it's the liberation of their old self, where they were restricting themselves, where they were holding themselves back, where they were limiting themselves in old cycles, in old templates, and old versions. Same thing with the divine feminine. She was carrying the weight of an old version of herself, carrying the weight of old versions of her journey, old versions of relationships, old versions of her everything. She was carrying the weight of the old. And now there's this liberation that's coming through. What do we need to know for the union energies, please? What do we need to know for the union energies between the divine feminine and the divine masculine? Yeah, you're both rising into your sacred selves. You both are rising into your divine feminine, divine masculine aspects. I feel like you, especially for the divine feminine, you've already really risen into that, but you're anchoring it in, you're embodying it. That's really the message. It's you're embodying this. You're embodying that courage. You're embodying that strength to take that next step as that next version of you. And the Seven of Pentacles, it's that planting new seeds. Remember I said it's like new timelines were being woven. I was just allowing myself just to like basically stare blankly at a wall. But in my mind was very active with like daydreams. And I was just allowing myself to wander with those daydreams and to dream big. It's that kind of energy. Like allow yourself to dream big. Allow yourself to dream big. Don't block yourself. Stand your ground with your visions. Don't block yourself though. Open up to every potential. Open up to every possibility. Don't keep yourself limited in what you think it should be or what you think it should look like or what you only think is possible. Anything is possible in this energy. Dream big. Dream bigger. Plant those seeds for what it is that you want in this next version of you, because this next version of you is creating a new reality. That old version of you might have had some limited possibilities, but this next version of you is expansive, and so there is limitless possibility. Especially when it comes to your connection. What is it that you want for your connection? Have the courage and have the strength to dream big. Have the courage and have the strength to allow the door of the past to close, those cycles to be sealed off. Allow yourself to create the new. Knight of Cups and the Lovers, yeah. Allow yourself to dream about the connection that you truly want. Not based on the old version of your counterpart, not based on the old version of you, not based on the old version of your connection. Dream new. Dream new. Because that's what you're going to be creating. Something new. Might still be with the same counterpart. Again, we've channeled this before. It could be with the same counterpart, could be with a different counterpart. Just dream new. You know in your heart what is right for you, what feels true to you. We started with that message. Dream new. All right, you guys, that is going to be it for this little kind of check-in. We'll come back when we're called to, possibly later this week. Make sure you subscribe. Let me know how these readings are resonating for you. I'm sending you all so much love, so much light, and we'll see you soon.